At Mass, I'd like to introduce you to Father Pat Conroy. For those of you guys who were with us at Mass, he needs no introduction. Father Pat is here with us, spending a couple days, and as a personal favor to me, but also because he was obviously very interested in the Canterbury community. I've known Father Pat for over 25 years. He was a very big part of my spiritual formation in college. When I was searching and when I was looking for something to do with my life, and entered this crazy guy. He is currently serving as the 60th chaplain of the U.S. House of Representatives, which he'll tell you is kind of a big deal. And more importantly, he is only the second Catholic chaplain to serve the U.S. House of Representatives, and that's a really, really big deal. So we welcome Father Pat, and he is around till Wednesday morning. A lot of you guys will have access to him and have a lot of contact with him in our classes, at the retreat tomorrow, out and about on campus, at lunch. So please avail yourself of his company. Thank you. Pat.
So yesterday I had a phone call. It was yesterday, right? Or maybe it was the day before that. I was here, and I had a phone call from a real good friend of mine who is the head of campus ministry at Jesuit High School in Portland, Oregon. And whenever he calls me, he refers to me as Your Holiness. So when I see it's him, I pick up the phone. I say, this is the 60th chaplain of the House of Representatives, talking to you from the Canterbury School in New Milford, Connecticut. How can I help you? And he says, where are you? I said, I'm at the Canterbury School. He said, my dad went there.
Small world.
Small world. Okay, so right now, this is 2016, right now, 4.5 years ago, I was teaching high school freshmen at Jesuit High School in Portland, Oregon, and I was the assistant coach of the mighty JV2 girls softball team. Yes, thank you very much. The head coach was Don Clark, the head of campus ministry that I was just talking about. And in 8 years, our accumulated record was about 25 and 130. And 13 of those wins happened 1 year. So you can imagine what the other years were like. Okay, so that was 4.5 years ago, 5 years ago, and now I am the 60th chaplain of the United States House of Representatives. I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal. Okay. Right, so people know me. So one of the great things is I get to do stuff like this. Every year there's a baseball game between the Democrats and Republicans. So the baseball coach out of Jesuit got me a uniform, and I got introduced. That's me on the Jumbotron. It's like, it's all downhill from there. That was right. That was right away. So people know me from the left and from the right. Now, is there anybody here, any student, who can tell us who those two people are? I mean, the famous one, but the guy and the two of them, look at that, they both have, what do you call those things, bibs? No.
Aprons.
Aprons, they both have aprons on. Students? Any student, who's the guy on the left? Who's the lady on the right? Students?
Michelle Bachmann.
Michelle Bachmann, thank you very much.
Yep.
For extra credit, what state? Minnesota, also where Don Clark is from. And Mr. Rod Clark, who used to be the headmaster here, is his uncle. Okay, so guy on the left is Al Franken from Minnesota. And on this occasion, there was a Minnesota hot dish cook-off. So the members of Congress, 2 senators and 9 Congress people, prepared hot dishes, and there was a competition, and I was drafted as a judge. So I'm judging. Michelle Bachmann's like pointing out something. I'm judging the 9 hot dishes, and for those of you in the back can't see, 8 of those are yellow. So Minnesota hot dish is basically a casserole, and the ingredients are hot tots, tater tots, mac and cheese, Minnesota wild rice, because that's where wild rice comes from, can of mushroom soup, and diced Spam, because Spam is from Minnesota. That was 8 of them. The 9th one, which is kind of green, had string beans in it. String beans and chicken. Well, and I'm judging. This was like, no, it was random. And the guy with the one with the chicken should have won because it was really pheasant that he had shot. But nobody told me that. So, I don't know. So, the winner was Senator Al Franken. Now, Senator Al Franken used to be a writer and an actor on Saturday Night Live. That's why you should know who he is. Anyway, plus he knows me. All right, so, and this was actually at Christmas time. Every year I have a reception in my office. So this is in my office, and you can see the various congressmen, including the speaker, now the current speaker of the House there in the middle. They all stopped by. We had a very nice time, and quite frankly, if you paid attention, if you had absolutely no life, and you tuned in to C-SPAN to watch what goes on, every once in a while you could see me. That'd be a thrill. But you don't see people being nice to one another because that's the public drama. That's the political drama. They have to disagree, but they really enjoy opportunities to be together and be friends. So what is my job? Now, this is the floor of the House. What's happening right here at the moment actually is the first day of Congress like 3 years ago, and John Boehner's just been elected Speaker of the House by the members of the House. He's been sworn into the office by this man here on the left, who's the Dean of Congress. This means he's the longest serving one. That's John Dingell, beginning his 59th year in Congress. Now, he's since retired, and his wife, who's 30 years younger, is now the Congresswoman. But anyway, now, the State of the Union, which you may have missed, the President comes in and speaks at the podium that's down below where the Speaker is now standing. Well, that is the podium from which I give the opening prayer every day. So that podium, people who speak at that podium are the reading clerk, which is the woman on your right there, right there. I'm standing right there. As Speaker comes in, the House will be in order, the prayer will be offered, and then I go there. So the chaplain speaks from there, the clerk speaks from there, and the President of the United States. Kind of a big deal. All right, so now also the Pope spoke from there. That happens too. So every day I give an opening prayer. That's part of the job. All right. Now there are Congressional Gold Medal ceremonies. These are ceremonies. You've heard of the Congressional Medal of Honor? Mm-hmm. Well, that's the highest award given to an American in the military. The Congressional Gold Medal is the highest award given to a person. Okay? So, now at these ceremonies, big ones, the Senate chaplain will give the opening prayer and I'll give the closing prayer or vice versa. And this is the Senate chaplain. This is the Reverend Dr. Barry Black. He's the first African American to be a congressional chaplain. He's Seventh-day Adventist. I'm Roman Catholic. And he is the retired chief of naval chaplains. He's an admiral. He was an admiral. And the admiral, now the Senate chaplain, was recipient of the Legion of Merit Medal, the Defense Meritorious Service Medal twice, and the Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medals twice. And I was the assistant coach of the mighty JV2. So those resumes, kind of point out the difference between the Senate and the House. Okay. The glory of the United States of America and the glory of the House of Representatives is that anybody can be elected to the House of Representatives. The Achilles heel is that anybody can get elected to the House of Representatives. So, and it happens. So those are the, I'm like the ceremonial prayer. Now I'm also available for conversation, counsel, and that happens from time to time, but basically I'm the designated human being friend of the adults in the room who are too busy being politicians. And so, as a matter of fact, it's a very important position to have, but you can't put any flesh on that. No, it's just, I'm the one guy that can actually say, Father, how are things going? Fine. How are you doing? Well, my knee's bugging me, and they know it's not going to go into the news. They can just have a conversation with me. So that's kind of cool. So, but not only people know me, I get to meet people. So, I mentioned this is the gold medal ceremonies. So this is one of the gold medal ceremonies. I'm currently giving the invocation at the beginning, I think. And what you're seeing is the House side. So that was Speaker Boehner. That's Nancy Pelosi. She's the Democratic leader. On the other side, that's off the picture, would be the Senate side. So there'd be Harry Reid and Mitch McConnell, and two senators who, opposite these two Congress people, who were the co-sponsors of the bill to award the Congressional Gold Medal. That's how that works. And they're honoring these two guys and two more guys on the other side. Now, who is this guy, students? Who's this guy? Adults? He's this guy. Ah. That was Neil Armstrong. So I got to meet Neil Armstrong. I also got to tell him when they were on this thing, it was 1969, it was the summertime, I was a waiter, I used to work from like 2 until midnight, so I'd get up in the morning, I was a distance runner in college, it was during college, I'd run my 15 miles, and then I'd go to work, but I'd have like 3 hours, and I'd be watching nonstop coverage. So I knew everything. I knew their names of their pets. I mean, I knew everything about this. So I'm waiting table, and a lawyer, my dad was a lawyer, and a lawyer came in with his wife and these two beautiful college, I'm guessing, interns, maybe, but anyway, they were beautiful. And I got wait table, and I'm just waiting table, and the lawyer's asking them, say, isn't that happening? Aren't they landing yet? Do you know anything? And of course, they didn't know anything because they're working all day, not me. So I said, well, I know everything about it. What do you want to know? So that turned into a date. And so I thanked Neil Armstrong for getting me a date. All right, so now sometimes there are visitors. There's this guy. So I went to work, and there's a heightened security. So I'm new. This is like 2 months after I got there, and so I asked my assistants, "Why is there security?" They said, "Well, don't you know the Dalai Lama is going to be here today?" Oh, well, I'd like to meet him. Oh, okay, we'll see. And so they make a couple calls. A couple hours later, they get in touch with me. Do you just want to be in the room with him, or do you want to meet him? I said, no, I want to meet him. I've been in the room with the Dalai Lama. He came to Georgetown when I was there. So, okay, so they checked that out, and they said, all right, he's going to have a news conference in this room in the Capitol, and just go, and then the sergeant at arms is going to escort him to his car. So go up to that room for the meeting, for the, the press conference, and stand next to the sergeant at arms, you'll meet him. I said, cool. So that's what happened. I went up there, and sure enough, we walked out. I stand in the hallway, and out comes the Dalai Lama, and says goodbye to the speaker, says goodbye to Nancy, and then he turns around like this. Now what? And I said, Dalai Lama, he bows to me, and he reaches out and takes my arm. He takes my arm. So the sergeant at arms isn't escorting him to his car. I am. I also escorted the homecoming queen in high school, so I knew what I was doing. Okay, so now the thing is we're starting to walk away, and Nancy Pelosi comes rushing back, and she says, "Oh, Your Holiness," talking to the Dalai Lama, not me. This is our new chaplain, Father Conroy. So she's the one that introduced us. So we walk around the corner, down the hallway, into this little elevator, which is behind us. We're just coming out of the elevator right here. So right behind us. And the elevators in the Capitol are small things because when the Capitol was built in the 19th century, these were air shafts. So they're just open air shafts so that the cool air of the basement underground could keep the buildings cooler than impossibly hot, in the summertime. Well, now they're all elevators, but they're small. So we get into this elevator, and he's standing right next to me. He's about that tall, and there's two refrigerator-sized, guards also. So we're crammed in there, and he looks up at me. I mean, this guy's your favorite grandpa. Now, if you don't have a favorite grandpa, imagine your favorite grandpa, and that's this guy. That's kind of the way he is. Pope Francis, same thing. All right, so there he is, and he looks up at me. He says, "My right knee is bothering me," and I looked down at him and I said, "My left shoulder's bothering me. It sucks to get old, doesn't it?" And then the doors opened. That was my conversation. That was my conversation with the Dalai Lama. It was profound. Okay, so. This is Aung San Suu Kyi, also Nobel Prize winner, current president of Burma, Myanmar. Her son was a freshman at Georgetown when I was chaplain at Georgetown. This guy, I don't know what I said that he's laughing at. If you don't know, this is our vice president, but this is Cardinal Timothy Dolan. These two guys could be separated at birth. They're exact same personality. They're absolutely delighted to be in your company. And, I had just met the Cardinal, and I'm his best friend, right? That's what it looks like. It's like, oh, yeah. Anyway, this was at the Pope's installation. And see, too bad this is a blurry one, because at the moment he's telling Joe Biden what a great guy I am. As if he knows. He just met me. So that's what I mean. So then I also get to meet this guy. Now, I knew he was coming to the Capitol. Tight schedule. He was going to get there at 9:20. He was leaving at 11. I got 20 seconds. So I and the Senate chaplain, whose picture you've seen, he's now standing out of here, greeted him as he came into the Capitol. And the guy in the glasses over here on the left is just a sergeant at arms who was assigned to introduce us. So I asked him to introduce the Senate chaplain first because I wanted to meet him second. So I said in Spanish, brother, welcome, because he's a Jesuit, I'm a Jesuit. Brother, welcome to the Capitol of the United States, one Jesuit to another. Oh. So he leans in and he says, "So you have the disease too." And then we're laughing at it. And I've only got 15 seconds now. So I said, "Can I give you a blessing?" And that's what happened. So there's Senate chaplain. Yeah. So I gave him a blessing. May the power and the wisdom of the Holy Spirit descend upon you in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. This hand right here. I was thinking of putting it in a jar to preserve it for the rest of my life, and then we have that picture. So, I get to attend the caucus retreats, and when the Democrats, you know, people like Bill Clinton show up, Stephen Colbert came one time. I get to go to interesting places. Now, any guesses what mountain this is?
Ararat.
Ararat. Sound like a guy who knows. It looks just like Mount Rainier out in Seattle. Look at that. They both, you know, the twin, you know, the deformed twin there. Well, it's Mount Ararat. Okay, that's where the ark is supposed to have landed. And then I get to go to Rome for the installation. Now, some of the guys in the crowd didn't notice anything except the word in the background. That's not why that picture was taken. All right, so that's the word was a CC, just, you know, so you know, Francis of Assisi. And these, this is before the Mass. These are all the communion hosts before the Mass, ready for the Mass. You know, like 2 million people went to, and so that's how closest I got to the Pope as he's driving by. And of course, he was looking the other way when I got the picture. So I got to meet him later. All right, and I guess these pretty neat things. So if you ever go to Washington and you see this building, that's my office. That's where I work. And that's where I get to park. All right, so that's kind of cool. This is another view of my office. One day I was standing out on that balcony right there, and this thing flew by. You know, I took that with my phone. Sure, cool. All right, all right. So, the 60th Chaplain, House of Representatives. But this is who I am. So, notice the sucker, and I'm talking about the thing in my mouth, not the guy. Okay, so now I was assistant coach. Now Don Clark had 2 children, a boy and a girl, and his daughter, you know, went through Jesuit high school and played different sports. So I was a competitive athlete as a runner, but also I played baseball, and I like to play to win. And the girls who were playing on the JV2 girls softball team were the girls that wanted to be on an athletic team but had no athletic ability or knowledge. And this was the one team at Jesuit High School they could actually be on and wear the uniform. And they were just so pleased as punch. And when we would lose 14 to 12, said, well, we're not losing by as much. You know, so anyway, so every year, like the first game, it's like, you know, hit the ball, run, no, don't run. And the coach would come over, he said, Father, 14-year-old girls don't need 2 adult men yelling at them. And I'd say, right you are. So next game I came with my supply of Tootsie Roll Pops. And the father of one of these precious girls, we called her Timber in the Timber Trot. This is how she hustled. Ball, the center field, the ball's like rolling, and she's running after it until it stops to pick it up. And then hit the cutoff man in right field. No, so I mean, this is, and Dad just loved that his girl got to play, and parents started coming to the games to laugh at the coaches. Okay, so that's the way it was. And that Timber's dad, the next game, came with one of those huge boxes of 100 Tootsie Roll Pops. And did that at the first game for the next 8 years, even after his daughter was gone. All right, so, all right. So, how did it happen that I went from being this to the 60th chaplain? Well, real quick, because my time's running out. When I was your age, honest to God, I was going to be a senator from the state of Washington. It's why I went to Claremont Men's College for college, and then why I went to law school. So I was going to be a lawyer like my dad was, get into politics, and eventually become the Senate senator from the state of Washington. So I went to Gonzaga University in Spokane, Washington, because it was the law school in Washington State that had the highest pass rate on the bar exam. That's purely it. That's why I went there. Well, turns out it was a Jesuit school. I ran into Jesuits, and so after my first year, left law school and went into the Jesuits. Now, I didn't make the decision with this kind of profundity, but basically the decision I was making was, for the rest of my life, I'm not going to decide what's going to happen. My Jesuit superiors are. And I'm going to trust them to know me well enough, as well as to know what the Jesuits wanted to do, that they would assign me to whatever my future was. That was the decision that I made. So, Jesuits sent me to school. That's what we Jesuits do. We go to school. We know everything. That's all we know. Okay, so I got an MA, got a JD, that's the law degree, MDiv, that's what you got to get to be ordained, and then I got an advanced theology degree in missiology because I was going to work on an Indian reservation. So basically, if I were to write the initials after my name, you might think I'm a Hindu god. I don't know. Now, all that school, 27 years of it, yeah, 27, you know, you seniors are on like 12 right now. 27, the best class I ever took. Sophomore year in college, improvisational theater. So for being a priest, being a lawyer, being chaplain in the House of Representatives, being an Indian missionary, being at university, everything I've ever done, prison ministry, the best class I ever took to prepare me was improvisational theater. Now, you know two people in this picture. That one was me. See how skinny I am? That's because I was running 15 miles a day. You know who this guy is. That's a sophomore at Claremont. It's 1970. This guy. Anybody know? Any guesses? He's this guy. Robin Williams. We learned improvisational theater together. Now, as I was mentioning at dinner, Robin Williams had an authentic experience. He went to Claremont to be an accountant.
Oh, jeez.
He took improvisational theater and discovered who he was. It changed his life. Went on to bless the world. R.I.P. All right, so that was my plan. I ended up going to the reservation for 5 years, did that work. Went to the university for 13 years. For the 13 years, 10 of those were at Georgetown. As a chaplain, I was running successful retreat programs, flying along, having a great time, enjoying myself, I think doing good work. And my provincial, like 15 years ago now, says, I want you to go out to Portland, Oregon and teach high school freshmen. Now, how many people think that's a career move? It's not a career move, but this is what Jesuits do. When Pope Francis was a Jesuit in Argentina, he was the provincial, he's the head guy, and his next job was teaching high school. It's what Jesuits do. We need you to do this. That's what it is. So, I have a law degree. I have a law degree. I'm teaching high school freshmen because that's what was needed. And I love doing it. When I was interviewed for this job, Mr. Boehner asked me, well, what do you do? And I said, well, I do improvisational theater trying to teach high school freshman theology. That's what I do. All right, so 5 years ago, the House switched, and my predecessor was the first Catholic, wanted to retire. So he says to Boehner, who's the speaker and responsible for finding a chaplain, I'm retiring. So John Boehner and Nancy Pelosi, the Democratic leader, formed a committee to search for the next chaplain. And the instructions, if you can find a Jesuit, I want a Jesuit. John Boehner went to a Jesuit university, went to Xavier in Cincinnati. Nancy Pelosi went to Trinity in D.C., but married a Hoya from Georgetown, and all the kids went to Georgetown. So, word went out to the provincials and my superiors, Do you have somebody you're willing to send to Washington? Well, every Jesuit provincial's got any number of guys they'd like to send to Washington, but not for this position. They'd like to get rid of all their trouble. But so I go in to meet my provincial, and he says, "How you doing?" I said, "I'm fine, but I think I'm done teaching high school because I'm like getting ready to kill somebody." You know, I was getting tired of, I'm sorry, your adolescence, which you are entitled to, and it's delightful, and God love you. I was done. All right, so, and there weren't enough Tootsie Roll Pops in the world. So, so I said, I think I'm done with this. I don't know what I want to do. And he said, well, something came up. So, how did this guy become this guy? Holy obedience. I have no other explanation for it. I applied for this job because my superior asked me to. I interviewed for this job because my superior asked me to. Was I trying to win a job? Did I need a job? No. Was I trying to convince them I was their man? No. Why are you here, Father? My provincial asked me to be. Tell us about yourself. Told them what I've told you, kind of, you know, my training, my experiences. What do I do now? I do improvs. Oh, that's pretty good preparation for this. What was clear to me, and I think clear to them, is I was free. I was free to be the chaplain of the House of Representatives. I haven't accomplished anything. I haven't earned anything. I haven't struggled. I haven't inexorably climbed over myself or over other people. And now I'm the chaplain of the House of Representatives by the grace of God. So my message would be, learn who you are, trust who you are, because it's who God has made you to be. Develop the skills and the talents and the interests that God has given you, no matter how impractical they might seem to be, because who you are is God's gift to the world. What you do, this is, you know, this is one of those trite sayings, but what you do is your gift back to God. But you're going to do it a heck of a lot better, and you're going to be a lot happier if you do it authentically, as who you are, not trying to be somebody you're not. You know, I was asked, have you done anything that would embarrass the House of Representatives? Well, how can I count the ways? I mean, I've done a lot of things, but what you're asking is that, what they're basically asking, have I done anything dishonestly? That's what they're asking. Have I done anything phony? Have I cheated somewhere? Have I gotten away with something that I shouldn't have? Because to do this service, to do this work, you have to be authentic. And my advice is never, never do something that will mean you're not able to meet whatever it is that comes your way. I never thought I would be in Congress once I joined the Jesuits. That was my plan. God remembered my bucket list. I'm in Congress. All right. Questions about anything I've said, or about Congress, or about anything, because like I said, I know everything. I'm a Jesuit. So, any questions?
Your favorite part about being in Congress?
Well, I don't have a picture of him. Well, I get to meet some great people. All right, clearly, some great people. one of the gold medal, well, no, it was actually an unveiling of a bust of Winston Churchill. And when they have those things, you know, members of Congress come together, the Senate chaplain and me, and I've got a picture, it's just not in here. And there's a picture of the Senate chaplain sitting, and me sitting, and an older gentleman from Great Britain, because we're honoring Winston Churchill sitting next to me. And at these ceremonies, they have a poet come and read a poem, or they have a singer come and sing a song, you know, that kind of, they have an artistic thing. So for Winston Churchill, the artist was the guy sitting next to me. His name is Roger Daltrey. Anybody know who Roger Daltrey was? Is.
Who?
Lead singer of The Who. Who are you? Who? I'm sitting next to Roger Daltrey. How you doing, man? Give me a five. All right, so that kind of stuff is cool. No doubt about it. But also every day I can walk up to John Lewis and thank him for being an American hero. Now, if you don't know, John Lewis, a representative from Atlanta, was the 23-year-old black man who led the Selma March and got beaten to within an inch of his life by the highway patrol for walking along the road. He's in Congress. He's a saint. He's one of the few members of Congress who's actually on a mission from God. They all think they are. And that's not even dishonest. I mean, they really do think that, but he definitely is. He's not there because he's an ambitious politician. So, to me, that every day I brush shoulders with one of the giants of my lifetime.
What's your favorite flavor for the Tootsie Pop?
Orange. Yeah. I like what it does to my tongue, too. Yeah, the guy gave me this box when I was going to Congress. I mean, he got it, too. I mean, that's... Any other? Well, okay. Thank you for being attentive. Typical example. Sixth form. Thank you. Yeah. Great.